And welcome back to the Stan Simpson Show. 1 year and counting for the big 2012 presidential elections. Here with Bilal Sekou, one of our regulars here on the show, University of Hartford, political science professor. Always has an interesting insight on politics. Welcome aboard.
Thanks a lot, Stan.
A lot of interesting things happening. Obama now pretty much on the campaign trail, right, for the most part, the president. You can say he's out there on the stump. It seems to me that what he has to do right now is forget about the economy issue and start selling what he's doing on the foreign and overseas. You see, he's got to say he killed bin Laden. He got involved with killing Gaddafi. He's releasing the troops from Iraq. Does he need to start talking more about what's happening overseas and just kind of concede that right now the economy won't go anywhere in the next 12 months?
You know, there's an old theory in political science that, you know, elections are really about pocketbook issues, and people really care about, you know, what their pocketbook looks like when election time comes around. So I don't think the president is going to ignore economic issues, because I think voters really make that decision on how they vote on the basis of what's going on with the economy and what's going on with their personal pocketbook.
But right now, nothing's going on.
Exactly.
And he's got no plan and no passing his plan.
Which is really what the problem is. Right. I mean, you know, I just saw CBS Time did a poll just recently. President's approval rating is about 46%. His disapproval is about 46% as well. That approval rate, a lot of that is related to the foreign policy stuff. And so I think you're absolutely right. The president has certainly got a bump from his foreign policy agenda, but, you know, those numbers are still low. He's, you know, and right now in Connecticut, the Quinnipiac poll recently showed that he's practically neck and neck with some of his challenges, and that's not good in the blue state. You just can't be neck and neck in a blue state as blue as Connecticut is.
But Professor, how about this? In the worst economy of modern times,
right,
he's a president, he's a point guy. And 46% is not a bad number for, you know, when people are hurting. I mean, I would think that camp has got to be a little bit heartened that it's not a lot lower than that. That's a pretty good, you know, even in good times, 46% is not bad.
Stan,
almost 50%.
There's no president you can point to who gets reelected with a 9% unemployment rate. There just hasn't been one. And so what he's...
But why isn't it, I guess my point is, why isn't it lower?
Why isn't his approval rating lower?
Why should it be in single digits?
As I said before, his approval rating really is, I think, in two parts, right? One is a function of the fact that he's gotten a bump from the foreign policy stuff. But at the same time, about 89% of the population disapproves of the performance of Congress. So I think he's also getting a bump there, because people really see the Republicans, for example, in Congress who've had no has been what their policy has been. I think people are responding to that. And the president has gotten a bump a bit from that, the fact that people look at the Congress and they see that institution as really being in worse shape than what the presidency is right now.
On the GOP side now, who do you suspect will rise and then be the primary competitor for the president? You know, you have Mitt Romney, you have Herman Cain, you have Rick Perry.
You know, Herman Cain at the moment is sort of the flavor of the month.
Right, let's talk about him for a second.
And he'll even admit that he's sort of the flavor of the month. But I really think when all of the dust settles,
I came here to declare my
who has organization and who has money. And Herman Cain has neither organization nor money. Mitt Romney and Perry both have organization and money, and those are probably the two people who will be there when the dust settles. I think this nomination will be Mitt Romney's nomination. The problem, of course, is that the base of the Republican Party are not particularly excited about Romney as president.
Right. So what is the appeal of Cain? Because if he's the flavor of the month, his numbers keep rising, and the more folks hear him, the more they seem to like him. So people keep saying, you know, he'll flame out. Right. But you know, will he?
He's a pretty colorful personality, first of all. I mean, the guy's very colorful. You listen to him talk, he's very colorful to listen to, and has charisma. I think the other thing is he's offering this plan, this 999 plan, which sounds intriguing to a lot of people. It's great marketing, exactly. But, you know, of course, the problem is a lot of economists have looked at that plan and they don't think there's much there, really.
Right.
But, you know, clearly, you know, that he's gotten a bump from that. And I think also part of the problem is that the Republican base is just not happy with Mitt Romney. You would think that Romney would be, at this point, you know, smooth sailing. He ran the last time for president. He's someone that people know. They really know where he stands. He's got the money. He's got the organization. But he doesn't have the enthusiasm of the base. And so a Perry can seize the moment. A Bachman can seize the moment for a second. And a Cain can seize the moment. Perry's had some problems.
He's got a flat tax thing now. He's trying to counter Cain with his own flat tax. And he got that whole Texas thing going on. Can he, you know, reemerge?
Yeah. Well, he's put some ideas out there, and I think he needed to do that because his campaign has not sort of fallen into the abyss, but he's certainly taken a serious slide over the last month or so. And so he didn't have really exciting sort of performances in the debates, and so people are really questioning about whether there's real substance with him. And so he's got to reassert himself. He's got money and he's got a lot of organizations, so I wouldn't count him out just yet. But he's got to figure out a way to really reinvigorate his campaign if he's going to win that nomination.
Awkward time in that neither or none of the GOP candidates have extensive foreign policy experience or seem pretty, or even seem up to speed on foreign policy, right? Where Obama has failed on the economy, but yet he's starting to show his muscle and might on foreign policy. So I wonder to what degree people start saying it's about who do I trust can lead in over the next 4 years? Who's a strong leader? Foreign policy is a very important thing.
Without a doubt, it is important. I mean, and it's an interesting world with the Arab, summer that recently took place, the fall of Gaddafi, the trouble in Libya, in Syria right now, in other parts of the Middle East, and so certainly that will be on our radar. But I really think this election will be about the economy, and it will be about what that economy looks like in 2012. And I think there's a real problem, not only for the president, I think also Congress, there could be real shakeup there as well. I think there are a lot of Democrats who are up for re-election in the Senate. There's a real possibility Republicans will take control of the Senate. But then there's also the possibility that some folks who are in office, Republican and Democrat, who are incumbents, people that you generally wouldn't think of being in trouble, may in fact be in trouble this time around. Voters are really upset about the economy.
15 seconds. Iraq, the pullout. Could you argue from a presidential standpoint that that is part and parcel of an economic recovery? Instead of having all that money put out, whatever the $1 billion a day, whatever the number is, you bring that money back home. Could that be something that you say is part and parcel of a new economic recovery plan?
Well, I'm not sure that money will necessarily come back home and be spent that quickly. I think we're in a period right now where austerity is the motto, particularly on the part of the Republican Party. There are a lot of blue dog Democrats who feel the same way as well.
All right. Bilal Sekou. Thank you to all our guest folks, Lauren Little, Shonda McClendon, Bilal Sekou, Oz Grable. Don't forget, catch our show 24/7, ctnow.com/Stan. Friend us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter for the good folks here at Fox Connecticut. I'm Stan Simpson. Tim Lammers in the Morning News is next.